Hey everybody, this is Perch. I'm going to talk about a comic that is not a. I think this is pretty, not well known. This comic, it's an Image comic, but people ask me all the time, like, "Hey, why you should talk more about, comics that you enjoy, rather than the various kind of other problems going on, and everything. Like, what comics do you enjoy?" And the question is also, it feels like it's heavily weighted because you kind of approach that and you go, well. I need to really come up with something good, a real comic that's got some art to it, whatever it happens to be. What's a comic you enjoy? So here's a comic I enjoy. It's by a writer I don't enjoy 9 times out of 10. But this is kind of a fun little thing. So I think fair is fair, right? I'm a fair guy. So I'm going to talk about, a comic I enjoy. And this is not a great comic. It's not a masterpiece of work that is going to survive generations of comic readers. It's not going to get collected and remembered forever. I mean, it does seem kind of dumb enough that it could become a Netflix show at some point, and maybe that's why it's being written. But I want to acknowledge that sometimes you enjoy a comic that isn't a great comic. It's just good. One of the big corporate buzzwords right now is how do you go from good to great? It's a funny little trick. It's like an internal marketing trick if you really kind of listen closely, because what it's saying is don't acknowledge, you have to acknowledge that things are at least good. So you don't want to send a negative message to your team or to your company. So you're giving them a compliment like, hey, things are going good. Good is good, but it'd be even better than good. Great. Great would be good. So now there's this phrase like, let's go from good to great. And everybody's like, ooh, this is inspiring. Because if you say, hey, let's go from, shitty to good, people are like, I don't want to be, I'm not shitty. What are you talking about? They start focusing on the wrong thing. If you say, our company's like a C minus and we want to go to a B plus, you're like, that's not inspiring. But man, if you get up there, you go, let's go from good to great. People are like, wow, I feel tingly all over. I'm good. I'm going to be great. Yeah. It's a very corporate HR marketing kind of trick. But anyway, this is an example of a good comic or a comic I enjoy reading, but it's not great. Okay. So now that I've built it all up, but it's going to be in the thumbnail. So everybody already knows. So Charles Soule, again, not a writer I enjoy. I have many, many problems with Charles Soule. But Charles Soule and Will Slimney. I'm going to go with Sliny. I apologize if I'm butchering the name here. I don't know why, because I butcher all kinds of names. Anyway, Will Sliney is doing the art. Charles Soule on writing duties, of course. And this is a comic called Hell to Pay. And this is a comic that is a classic example of a simple premise that just kind of gets the job done. It's a comic that my voice almost cracked there. It was like I was going through puberty again. Wow, I don't know what happened there. My throat is sore. I've been talking all day. I gave a speech earlier to a bunch of people and, hosted a big round table on web. I'm tired. I've been talking all fucking day. Anyway, Hell to Pay. So Image comic came out in November of last year, 2022. And this comic is plugging along. And basically, the idea is that this couple, Maya and Sebastian, had a kind of horrible accident. They like things were bad for them, and they were offered a deal from a bunch of kind of mysterious magicy people, and it would repair their life and they'd be good again. But in taking the deal, they incurred a debt. So basically, it's a bargain. You're in a bad situation, things will get better, but you owe us one. So simple as hell. So the deal they take is that they've got to kind of run around and track down these coins, these cursed kind of demon coins. And there's only a few that are out there, but they basically have to return all these coins to the shrouded college. I was going to say shrouded council, but they have to return these coins to the people who helped them. If they do that successfully, then the debt is paid and life's good. And that's the comic. That's it. And this comic, and there's demons and plagues and other shit going on, and there's cursed the coins are cursed, and they're trying to destroy these coins and get there. And then there's other agents from this mysterious council, but they've also got a debt, and the debt is, the debt's different for them. So anyway, there's these it's basically, there's a bunch of people. They took a deal, and until they pay it back, then they've got a limited time to pay it back, or then things go back to shitty again, and that's it. That's a comic. So what makes this work? I mean, the art is good. If you're a 90s fan, by the way, if you're a fan of 90s comics, this comic probably works really well for you, especially if you're a fan of like Midnight Suns, Ghost Rider in the 90s, comics like that. This book probably is kind of right up your alley. If you've been looking for something like that, Hell to Pay by Image Comics, they head that way, go for it. I like this comic because it's kind of dumb fun, but also it is its premise. So the comic does not try and get cute about kind of different things. It doesn't really try and subvert expectations. Maybe that's coming later. The comic is, in short, two people in a bad situation took a deal. Now they have to pay that deal back, and it's tricky to do that. The end. And then shenanigans occur. And it's refreshing on some crazy level. So I say it's a good comic. It's an enjoyable read. Is it a great comic? No. Is it a comic I'll remember 30 years from now? Probably not. But it does what a lot of comics aren't doing. And what's kind of shocking is that you start appreciating books that just have a basic premise. They state it. It's easy to wrap your head around it. They give you a comic based on that premise. The end. It's pretty simple. You can absolutely see this comic as a Netflix show. And again, some part of me believes Charles Soule is probably doing exactly that, trying to get something that he can shop at Hollywood because it'd be a ready-made, easy-to-produce movie. And maybe it's already been optioned. Who the fuck knows? But it is telling that comics have got to this point where, just a simple, straightforward story is somehow magical and amazing and refreshing and a breath of fresh air. And it's just great to just get a comic that just knows what it is and just tells a story. So that's what you're getting with Hell to Pay. It's the premise I mentioned. It's exactly the premise I mentioned. Nothing more, nothing less. A couple of issues have come out. You can check them out. Again, the art style is very reminiscent of that kind of 90s style of art. So it's very comforting and familiar. And Charles Soule is kind of ignoring some of his normal instincts that cause me not to enjoy his comics by just, saying, you wanted this, there you go. The end. So there you go. You asked me, like, what are comics I'm enjoying right now? When this comic comes out, I pick it up, I read it. I never feel like, holy shit, I read a great comic. I'm like, yep, okay. Yeah, all right. I don't feel bad. And that's pretty good too. So, what comics I'm enjoying? Yeah, this one. Yeah, sure. Why not? Simple storylines. I do think if you're a comic creator out there, consider making comics that are like this in the sense of, you can do lots of different things, but every now and then just think of a very basic premise, something you could describe to somebody else in an elevator. Make that comic. Ship it. Probably not a bad idea. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and thanks for listening.